Tonight, another big drop of files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, with emails, letters, and more mentions of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Crimes have been committed, and people need to be held accountable.
The details about who flew on Epstein's private jet and when, and the redactions leaving more questions than answers. A new oral version of a popular weight loss drug approved for use in the U.S.
I think that will be very important for many people who tell us they just can't afford to pay out of pocket.
The new pill some are calling a game changer, and when it could be coming to Canada. Plus, on the trail of former Canadian Olympian and alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding.
Looks like it was an execution. They are afraid that something might happen to them.
Inside the violent cartel officials say is protecting him.
From CBC News, this is The National with Lindsay Duncombe.
After days of haphazard disclosures of what's become known as the Epstein files, the U.S. Department of Justice released another batch of documents linked to its investigations of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. There are new references to Donald Trump, including how investigators discovered he was on Epstein's private jet more than they'd previously known, a jet Trump has in the past denied ever being on. And also there is mention of co-conspirators never charged, their names redacted. Now, just because someone's name is on the documents, it doesn't mean that they have done anything wrong. But as Karen Paul shows us, the new details just keep coming.
Among the revelations in the 30,000 new documents released by the Department of Justice Tuesday, emails and flight logs showing U.S. President Donald Trump flew on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's plane at least 8 times between 1993 and 1996, including a flight where the only listed passengers are Epstein, Trump, and an unidentified 20-year-old.
We are not a hoax. We are not lying.
Canadian Charlene Rochard says all of this further vindicates her and other Epstein survivors, but it doesn't give her much hope for justice.
We're protecting predators and not children.
The new releases also contain extensive redactions, making it difficult to put together a bigger picture.
It is my hope that the Department of Justice is actually going to do their job and follow the evidence wherever it leads. Crimes have been committed, and people need to be held accountable.
Speaking from Florida, where he's spending the holidays, Trump again downplayed alleged connections with Epstein.
Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places.
This release is also making waves in Britain. It includes an email from someone with the name The Invisible Man and capital A. Some believe that refers to the former British Prince Andrew. A asks Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell for some, quote, inappropriate friends.
He's looking for a bit of action with the girls. And it gives some sense of the relationship he's got with Ghislaine and how he behaved.
Andrew Loney is the author of Entitled, The Rise and Fall of the House of York.
Each new disclosure of this drip feed of material lowers not just him in the estimation of the British people, but also the royal family.
A document prepared by the DOJ and sent to UK authorities in 2020 also found a connection between Andrew and Canadian fashion mogul Peter Nygard, who was convicted of sexual assault in 2023, saying Andrew traveled to Nygard's private island in the Bahamas, where Nygard is believed to have trafficked minor and adult female victims. Lindsay, back here in the United States, Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to know why the identities of 10 alleged Epstein co-conspirators have not yet been released. He posted screen grabs of redacted emails the DOJ sent in 2019 that mentioned 10 people who may have helped Epstein in his crimes.
So another 30,000 files, and there are still calls for more.
There is a criticism that what's been released already has a lot of redactions and no context. And this isn't even everything. Congress returns January 5th, and the Democrats say they'll do whatever it takes to compel the DOJ to release all of the Epstein files. Lindsay?
Karen Pauls in Washington. A debate is swirling around CBS's decision to pull a story from its legendary news program 60 Minutes hours before airtime. As Lisa Shing shows us, we now know more about how and why it happened, and we have part of the story itself after it was leaked to Canadian audiences, apparently by mistake.
This documentary from 60 Minutes pulled from the schedule just hours before it was set to air Sunday night.
The same water from our baths and toilets was the same water that we had to drink and survive on.
Through interviews with Venezuelan men, a critical look at the Trump administration's deportations to El Salvador's notorious Secot prison.
He says the guards began savagely beating them with their fists and batons.
Did you think you were going to die there?
We thought we were already the living dead, honestly.
Despite being pulled by CBS, a portion of the story temporarily available to watch in Canada through Global TV's streaming app. Editor-in-Chief Barry Weiss explaining her decision to hold it in an internal CBS memo, citing the need to advance the story further and saying it failed to present the administration's argument. 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alfonsi defended her work to colleagues, calling it a political decision.
It's almost unheard of to pull a story at the last minute.
Journalism professor and former 60 Minutes producer Peter Klein says Weiss, appointed this fall, is pushing the agenda of her corporate bosses.
Normally, there's a firewall between the corporate side and the news side, and so she is essentially short-circuiting that.
This summer, CBS changed ownership when Skydance Media acquired parent company Paramount, now run by David Ellison, son of longtime Trump supporter Larry Ellison.
And CBS, I love the new owners of CBS. Something happens to them, though. 60 Minutes has treated me worse under the new ownership than they just keep treating me. They just keep hitting me. It's crazy.
If Barry Weiss thought she was burying this story, she's done exactly the opposite.
CBS News says Global, its Canadian broadcast partner, mistakenly published the segment. In the time it was up, some screen recorded it, sharing it to social media. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
At least 2 people are dead and 5 others missing after an explosion at a nursing home in Bristol, Pennsylvania.
We believe preliminarily that it was a gas leak that led to that. The explosion was really quite catastrophic.
It happened in a small town outside Philadelphia where crews had already been responding to a gas leak. The explosion caused part of the building to collapse. Authorities say 2 people were rescued before another explosion caused a fire in the basement. The Toronto area lawyer arrested last month for his alleged role in the network of accused drug kingpin Ryan Wedding has been granted bail. Deepak Pradakar, who calls himself the cocaine lawyer online, faces extradition to the U.S. and charges including conspiracy to commit murder. Recently, the government argued against granting bail, saying Pradakar was now a liability to the wedding organization, a target for assassination, and not safe outside of custody. U.S. authorities say Ryan Wedding is being protected by the notorious Sinaloa cartel based out of the Mexican state with the same name. And that's where Jorge Barrera will take us, a region that is now the scene of a brutal cartel civil war. That story coming up in about 20 minutes. Russia launched a deadly overnight attack across Ukraine, destroying buildings and leaving thousands of people without power. This as diplomatic efforts to end the war continue. But as Caroline Bargood explains, there's still no peace deal in sight.
Hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles blasted Ukraine overnight Monday into Tuesday morning. Ukrainian officials say at least 3 people were killed, including a 4-year-old, and more injured. The attack targeted 13 regions, including the capital, Kyiv. This father of 3 was heading to work when he saw a drone hit his apartment building. I ran back to the flat and I saw what happened. The flat was destroyed inside. All the furniture was damaged, he said. I don't know what to do next. Moscow's wide-scale strikes left many without power. In the city of Odessa, there is darkness. It's winter and thousands are without electricity. Just when the power is restored, all of our schedules are disrupted again, and we are left without electricity, this woman said. It's very difficult. The strikes come a day after a high-ranking Russian general was killed in a car bomb in Moscow. Russian officials have blamed Ukraine, but no one has yet to take responsibility. The U.S. has been trying to broker a peace deal between the two countries, with delegates meeting in Miami over the weekend to hammer out the details. U.S. President Donald Trump said the talks were going okay.
You know, there's tremendous hatred between these two leaders, between President Putin, President Zelensky, tremendous hatred, and I hope we can get it done.
President Volodymyr Zelensky called progress on the plan quite solid. But after the latest string of attacks, he posted on social media. This Russian strike sends an extremely clear signal about Russia's priorities. An attack ahead of Christmas, when people simply want to be with their families, at home and safe. Putin still can't accept that he must stop killing, and that means that the world is not putting enough pressure on Russia. Amidst the devastation and fear, Ukrainians are trying to prepare for the holidays as the country gets ready to spend its 4th Christmas at war. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, London.
A rare defeat for Donald Trump today at the U.S. Supreme Court. It refused an emergency request to overturn a lower court ruling and let him send National Guard troops into Chicago. The administration argued the troops were needed to protect immigration agents from protesters in the city. But the justices ruled it is not shown it has the legal authority to send them in. Now, this ruling only applies to Chicago and only for now, but it does cast doubt on Trump's attempts to send more troops into other cities. The U.S. has approved the first GLP-1 weight loss drug in pill form. It isn't on store shelves yet, and it's not approved in Canada. But as Jenna Benchetrit explains, it could boost accessibility for many.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved a pill version of the Wegovy weight loss drug, the first oral medication of its kind. Parent company Novo Nordisk says it has similar weight loss results as the injectable version. Most GLP-1 weight loss drugs are currently taken as weekly injections, but a daily pill version is expected to have broader appeal.
Some people don't like injections. It's harder to bring the injections to market because you need not only the active drug, but you also need a pen device.
Type 2 diabetes? Discover the Ozempic Trizone.
In Canada, some injectable GLP-1s, including Ozempic and Wegovy, are approved by the government to treat type 2 diabetes and obesity. But many insurers have resisted offering coverage when they're used for weight loss, putting them out of reach for many.
The pill is promised at a cheaper price. And I think that will be very important for many people who tell us they just can't afford to pay out of pocket at current prices.
Wegovy's parent company, Novo Nordisk, confirmed to CBC News it applied for Canadian regulatory approval of the pill this month. But this professor says it could take a while for an oral version to hit shelves.
If this is going through what's called the standard review process, then it will take up to 300 days before a decision is made.
According to an Ipsos survey, up to 1.4 million Canadians currently use GLP-1 drugs. Lisa Schaefer is currently using an injectable, but thinks the pill would be an enticing option for many.
As long as that efficacy stays the same and it doesn't introduce new side effects, which to my understanding, those are both totally in line right now, this is a really interesting option to look at.
And more could be coming. Competitor Eli Lilly is awaiting U.S. approval for its own weight loss pill and says that decision could come by March. Jenna Benchetrit, CBC News, Toronto.
In Canada's mountain regions, safety is top of mind this holiday season. Outdoor activities are ramping up in the Rockies, and as Shehan Desjardins shows us, Avalanche experts are urging anyone heading to the backcountry to be alert and to plan ahead.
I've got my shovel, I've got my probe, and I have my Avalanche transceiver.
It's not much, but in avalanche season, this is pretty well your best bet. Mountain guide Tim Ricci brings hundreds of people into the backcountry in the Rockies every winter.
It's all about how you manage the risk when you head into the backcountry. So you definitely want to be prepared before you head out into the field on any given day.
Over 100 centimeters of snow has fallen in the last 5 days alone.
So just up over these mountains here in the Spray Valley is where we see most of the activity. Lots more snow back there.
This Alberta Parks mountain rescuer has seen worse avalanche conditions, but the risk is still classified as considerable.
It's actually where we see the most accidents over time, and that's because we start to see a tapering of the natural avalanche activity and less happening right in front of your eyes, but they're still very primed for human triggering.
Avalanche Canada says conditions are similar for parts of BC this busy holiday season.
Even if it looks okay on the surface, Avalanche Canada says there's layers of snow on mountains like these, and pressure from something like a skier or snowmobiler above could be enough for one of the layers to let go.
It's a huge concern for us. In Western Canada, the #1 cause of fatalities for snowmobilers is avalanches.
Avalanche Canada recommends pairing up for backcountry activities with the winter season just beginning.
The snowpack in general is well above average compared to last year, especially in the Central Rockies. And it's definitely been an active start to the avalanche season because of that.
Ricci says their backcountry guides are sticking to less risky spots for now. Even with all the preparation, the possibility of getting buried under snow this deep is just not worth it. Chien Desjardins, CBC News, Canmore, Alberta.
The fight to fit into the Canadian military.
You end up with equipment that is less effective at protecting them against bullets.
Why the uniform makeover is about more than just protection. Plus, is an electric scooter on your child's Christmas list?
Just because it goes fast doesn't mean you need to or should ride it that fast.
Why some doctors recommend shopping for something else. And a wild encounter in Banff, Alberta.
That is a grizzly bear, and I got a jolt of adrenaline.
What this hiker did next, we're back into. British comedian Russell Brand has been charged with 2 new counts of rape and sexual assault after allegations were made by 2 more women. Brand was already charged in April with similar offenses against 4 others. He has pleaded not guilty in that case. For decades, women in the Canadian Armed Forces have had to wear combat gear designed for men. But as efforts to recruit and retain more women ramp up, that is finally about to change. Ashley Burke shows us how.
For more than 30 years, women have been serving in combat, but wearing uniforms and body armor primarily designed for men that often doesn't fit.
It sends a message that you are an afterthought. We're accommodating you.
Sandra Perron made history as Canada's first female infantry officer. She wore a men's extra small uniform that didn't fit, but like many, made it work.
We've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of women who have left the military because of that.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
This expert says it's an issue senior military leadership has known about for decades.
You end up with equipment that is less effective at protecting them against bullets, and that can create a higher rate of casualties in combat.
It's right in here.
Behind the scenes, a specialized team has spent 5 years working on a solution.
It's not as if we have been fielding modern equipment to soldiers and leaving women out. We haven't been doing it.
Grasp the handles on both sides.
They've been scanning military members' bodies for measurements, running focus groups, and doing extensive testing, including in the field. All to modernize the Army and Air Force's combat uniforms, including versions specifically designed for women's bodies.
This is the first time this has happened for operational clothing. It's a huge statement of support.
They've started rolling out new merino wool base layers, including contoured cuts.
There's room for the belly. There's more.
And maternity options.
That can be zipped in to make the jacket bigger.
And are working on prototypes for camouflage combat uniforms.
For my work with the allies, nobody else has really those cuts that are gender specific.
Lieutenant Colonel Melanie Lake is already defending the uniform after trying it with a body armor system for women.
There are people who will instantly jump to criticizing that this is just another woke initiative of the military. That couldn't be further from the truth. This isn't a woke issue. This is a war-fighting issue.
The new uniforms made in Canada are slated to start being released in 2027. Officials hope it could help attract and retain more women across the forces. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Christmas is approaching at top speed.
Head injuries like concussions and fractures in your arms and your legs.
Why some doctors are urging parents to slow down and rethink gifting e-scooters. Plus, who is protecting the Canadian Olympian turned alleged drug kingpin?
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of El Chapo Guzman.
CBC News is in Mexico speaking to a member of the notorious Sinaloa cartel.
Can you put down the camera, please?
About one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives it's accused of shielding. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. E-scooters are no doubt on more than a few Christmas wish lists, but health experts are warning parents tonight against giving them to kids. Yasmin Renea explains they can be dangerous and injuries are climbing.
This is one of the ones that we recommend.
At this e-scooter store, speed isn't always the selling point.
While we do sell devices capable of very high top speeds, we are very, very clear. We tell people just because it goes fast doesn't mean you need to or should ride it that fast.
E-scooters can accelerate from 0 to 40 kilometers an hour in seconds, with some topping out at 75. That speed may be part of the appeal, but doctors say it's also a reason more Canadians are getting hurt. The Canadian Institute for Health Information says over a one-year period, hospitalizations linked to e-scooter injuries rose by 32%, with a 61% jump among those 5 to 17 years old.
The more serious ones that we hear about include head injuries like concussions and fractures in your arms and your legs and things like that.
Eco-friendly and convenient, e-scooters are surging in popularity across the country. But health officials stress they are a vehicle, not a toy.
We do recommend that if you're thinking about buying a Christmas present or a holiday present for your children, to go with like the old school bicycle is still an excellent option.
The legal age to ride an e-scooter depends on where you are. In Toronto, e-scooters are not allowed on public property regardless of your age. In Quebec, you must be at least 14 years old to ride. In Vancouver, 16. And you're not supposed to go faster than 25 kilometers an hour, though that limit isn't always followed or enforced.
Unfortunately, people like to kind of just cruise around high speed, and if they're in a rush, they like to shoot past you at an intersection. So most of the time, it's fine. There's a few people who get too close for comfort.
The advice for those who are allowed to ride: always wear a helmet, don't be distracted by your phone, and don't exceed the speed limit. Yasmin Renea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. A Canadian Olympian, now one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives, Ryan Wedding, remains on the run.
He's someone who needs to be brought to justice.
U.S. investigators suspect he's in Mexico, sheltering with the most feared cartel.
Looks like there was an execution.
We're in Sinaloa, Mexico, speaking to a Sinaloa cartel enforcer about Wedding and the deadly internal feud. And that war is leaving its mark on communities. Jorge Barrera traveled to the epicenter of the battle between Sinaloa factions to track Wedding's alleged ties.
We're about to meet with someone who's part of the Sinaloa cartel.
And there's one question we want to ask.
What do they know about Ryan Wedding?
Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of El Chapo Guzman.
Ryan Wedding remains one of the top threats to Canadian public safety. He's being protected by the Sinaloa cartel.
For months, CBC has been following the case of Canadian Olympian turned alleged narco kingpin Ryan Wedding. Now we travel to Culiacan in northwestern Mexico, home to the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful drug trafficking groups in the world. A group U.S. and Canadian authorities say is protecting Wedding. Our guide on this journey, a Sinaloan journalist who says finding information on Wedding may be tough amid the chaos plaguing the city.
They just get a text from our guy, the cartel guy.
Miguel Angel Vega gets the pin for the location of our interview with a gunman from the Sinaloa cartel. As we get close to the spot,
Can you put down the camera, please? Yeah.
For security reasons, we are not revealing his identity. His voice is also distorted.
Ahorita soy encargado de seguridad.
He says he's heard the name of Ryan Wedding.
Se ha hecho muy viral estos últimos meses, que es el nuevo Chapo.
He says the U.S. has inflated Wedding's profile.
Yo creo que ya lo tienen ubicado, nomás lo están dejando ser. Al momento de agarrarlo, ahí vas a sacar la noticia grande, pues. Y lo van a inflar como una noticia gigante.
Despite the claims from Canadian and U.S. law enforcement,
no creo que esté protegido por el cartel de Sinaloa, ni que esté en la Ciudad de México tampoco, siendo que la Ciudad de México es de las más vigiladas a todo nivel nacional. Y hay muchas inteligencias y muchos departamentos de inteligencia de gobierno.
Looks like there was an execution. Now this is an everyday scene. It happens all the time. That's why people in Culiacan are so feared, because they are afraid that something might happen to them. You never know. If you're going out, you'll never know if you're coming back.
This victim is in his 50s. Family members arrive, a hole punched in their lives. A couple hours later, paramedic Julio Cesar Vega gets a call. A gunshot victim in Culiacan's downtown. Police get to him first and take him to this hospital. The victim escaped a kidnapping and was shot while fleeing. He's transferred to another hospital to protect him against a second attempt on his life. Back at the headquarters of a volunteer paramedic service that he founded, Julio Cesar Vega arranges his kits. He says gunshot wounds make up around 70% of his calls he gets now.
No todos corren con la misma suerte, la mayoría pues fallece. Hemos tenido desde septiembre de 2024 a la fecha muchos niños víctimas colaterales.
This was the house.
This was it?
Yeah.
This is the place where the war inside the Sinaloa cartel began. The cartel was once headed by Joaquim El Chapo Guzman and Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who was kidnapped here by El Chapo's son in July 2024. The war between Chapo and Mayo loyalists exploded on September 9, 2024.
Literalmente sí nos cambió la vida de un día para otro.
Adrian Lopez is the director of the newspaper Noreste. He says Sinaloa may now be living through its most violent period ever.
Pero pues obviamente tenemos más de 2.400 homicidios desde el 9 de septiembre para acá y ya casi 3.000 denuncias de personas privadas de la libertad.
Forma de también.
Back in the cartel safe house.
¿Y has tenido que salir a matar?
A trabajar, sí.
¿Qué le dices a la población de las mamás, los papás, la gente que se levanta temprano, trabajar duro? ¿Qué le dices a ellos sobre el miedo que sienten?
Que se cuiden. Que se cuiden porque ahorita la cosa aquí en esta ciudad está al rojo vivo. Ahorita no respetan niños, no respetan mujeres, no respetan ancianos, no respetan nada.
¿Y cómo termina esto?
Tiene que quedar uno nomás. De las dos facciones, tiene que quedar uno solo.
Mexican authorities have increased their presence in response to the cartel war. We followed the National Guard to a checkpoint and on a patrol. Major General Ulises Gonzalez Calzada leads the National Guard in Sinaloa. As for Ryan Wedding,
bueno, yo conocí de él a través de los medios de comunicación, pero no lo he tenido yo así, ni tengo ninguna información al respecto.
he says his work is focused on pacifying the region.
Y la Secretaría de la Defensa Nacional tomó acciones al respecto, amparada con el Gabinete de Seguridad, como parte del Gabinete de Seguridad, e implementó operaciones de alto nivel aquí en el Estado y a regresar a la ciudadanía a la seguridad para retomar sus actividades normales.
He says much of the killings are contained between factions of the cartel.
Eran miembros del mismo grupo criminal, todos eran miembros del mismo grupo criminal, se conocían, sabían dónde vivían, las actividades que desarrollaban.
He says the security situation is improving.
Y yo siento que vamos por el camino correcto para llevarla a cabo.
Maria Guadalupe Rodriguez says she fled her home by foot with her 3 children last October from the countryside north of Culiacán when armed men showed up and ordered everyone to leave.
Pero sí dijeron que la gente se saliera realmente, que no le iban a hacer nada, pero que sí querían que se saliera.
She brought her daughter here to this park for a Christmas picnic, organized by volunteers for over 800 families that have been displaced by the conflict. Rodriguez says she doesn't know when, if ever, she'll return to her village.
Pues hay días que parece que está la cosa media calmada y de momento se empeora y realmente pues no es de que digamos al otro mes, al siguiente mes, no, está difícil.
For now, she plans to rebuild her life here in Culiacán and wait the war out.
While Wedding continues to evade Canadian U.S. investigators, they do appear to be closing in on his network, arresting 10 people with ties to him last month. Thomas Degg now on Wedding's slide from elite athlete to an alleged drug trafficker and how he allegedly built a billion-dollar empire.
For years, former associates and rivals have been turning up dead, from Canada to Colombia. The long trail of bodies leading to an unlikely suspect. Ryan Wedding, once an Olympic snowboarder from BC, now one of the FBI's most wanted, with a $15 million bounty on his head.
Wedding went from being an elite athlete to an alleged drug kingpin and murderer to now a famous fugitive.
Retracing his path from the top of the mountain to the underworld, we hear for the first time from the woman he married while in prison.
He said that he was just at the wrong place and wrong time.
And the FBI agent who confronted him.
He's someone who needs to be brought to justice because this won't be the end.
At the 2002 Games in Salt Lake City, somewhere in that Team Canada crowd was a promising 20-year-old Olympic rookie, seemingly destined for a long career on the slopes.
Notre Canadien maintenant, Ryan Wedding.
At 6'3" and with grandparents who owned a ski hill in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Wedding proved a natural, flying down the giant slalom course. Though this would be his only time competing on the world's biggest stage. Failing to qualify for the next round, within years, Wedding would be forging ties with a Mexican drug cartel. For the Vancouver Sun, crime reporter Kim Boland wrote about Wedding when those connections later came to light.
I got a lot of calls from his friends and family after I first reported on the case, suggesting that, we were being cruel to report this and that he was a great guy. He was a very charismatic person, very popular, lots of women in his life.
In 2006, in Maple Ridge, east of Vancouver, came the first sign of trouble. Wedding's name appeared in an RCMP search warrant for a cannabis grow-op. He wasn't charged yet, but his criminal connections flourished. In June 2008, Wedding flew to Los Angeles to buy 24 kilograms of cocaine. Instead, he got caught in a sting operation and was arrested by FBI Special Agent Brett Kalina. Now retired, we reached him in San Diego.
We really didn't know about Ryan Wedding until he stepped off the plane. He was very confident that he was just going to be able to pull this off. This was going to be a deal like any other that he may have done up in Canada. And again, we didn't have a huge history at that point of him. We did not know he was a snowboarder.
U.S. court records obtained by CBC News show Wedding pleaded with the judge for a lenient sentence. "Your Honor, what I did was completely out of character for me," he said. "I am truly sorry. As an athlete, I was always taught that there is no second chances, and well, I'm here asking for exactly that." Wedding was sentenced to 4 years behind bars and sent to a notorious mega prison in West Texas. Our investigation finds he then married a BC businesswoman. Here's the marriage license, dated February 14th, Valentine's Day 2011, while Wedding was an inmate, and after she says they dated in BC. We reached his former bride on the phone all these years later.
You married him while he was in prison. Didn't you have any concerns about his lifestyle at the time?
No, he said that he was wrong. He was just there with a friend, and he got convicted. Like he was just at the wrong place and wrong time.
Are you involved in money laundering?
No, of course I am not.
In fact, we found the woman's name came up twice in police investigations tied to money laundering. We're not naming her here since she's not charged with a crime, but records show she and Wedding moved in together in Coquitlam, BC after he got out of prison, around the time authorities say he was building his own criminal network. By 2015, Wedding was on the RCMP's radar when they unveiled a major operation targeting cartel-linked cocaine imports by sea. But by the time he was charged, Wedding was already gone, running off to Mexico, where prosecutors say he's protected by the infamous Sinaloa cartel. All of it coming to light in October 2024, when U.S. authorities laid out drugs and guns seized in their investigation, announcing they too were now on the hunt for Wedding.
Upon his release, we believe he went back to drug trafficking and in fact built this prolific and ruthless organization.
Whoa.
From a South Florida mansion to the streets of Colombia, officers arrested suspected accomplices, even alleging Wedding orchestrated a botched shooting in this Caledon, Ontario home in November 2023 over a stolen drug shipment.
My father was shot in front of me. I heard my mother's last screams, and after that, it was complete silence.
Police later revealing the attack on that family was a grim case of mistaken identity. Wedding is believed to be hiding in Mexico, authorities hoping someone will report his whereabouts, but investigators admit he may have dramatically changed his looks since these pictures were taken in 2024.
For those of you out there that have any information on Ryan Wedding, now is the time to speak up. He will not evade justice, he will not evade our capture, he will not evade arrest, and he will not evade prosecution.
In November, the U.S. Treasury Office sanctioned Wedding and 9 others closely associated with him, aiming to cut them off from finances in the U.S. In just over 40 days, Canadians will tune in for the 2026 Winter Olympics, where long track speed skating will be among the most anticipated sports.
A tip for a newbie?
Oh, keep your knees forward.
Keen to learn more about the sport, Omar Debegi Pacheco is on the ice for a crash course next. Long track speed skating is among Canada's most successful Winter Olympic sports. But for new fans, here's a beginner's guide with some of Canada's best ahead of the 2026 Milano Cortina Games.
But also you feel this kind of zip effect as you go around the corner, and that can be quite exhilarating.
And to find out just how exhilarating, Omar Debegi Pacheco laced up his skates and got on the ice.
It's the fastest human-powered sport on Earth, and Canadians are really, really good at it. Long track speed skating. I'm going to be one of the people bringing you CBC coverage from the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. and I wanted to find out how tough speed skating really is.
That feeling where your legs are full of lactic acid and they really cannot move anymore, but you need another push, and then another, and then another, and then it doesn't stop. That's the pain train, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so I don't know how to skate. I got a prosthetic hip, and I'm entirely out of my comfort zone here.
I have not really skated since I was a kid, so why did I sign up for a season of speed skating lessons? 1, I like a good challenge. 2, I want to have a sense of what it feels like for those athletes around those corners. And 3, it's really, really fun.
I have no idea what happens if you bail while catapulting around those corners, so I'm hoping not to find out the hard way.
Oh, and this ice? It's home to the Gloucester Concords, the original training grounds where gold medalists Isabelle Weidman and Ivani Blondin got their start. It's where I'm figuring this sport out too, but I've got a lot of questions. And with the Winter Games ever so close, you're about to see a lot of long track speed skating, and you probably have some questions too. So here's a primer. Canada. Canadian long track speed skaters have won 42 Olympic medals. That's more medals than in any other Winter Olympic sport. A 400-meter oval, individual distance events, from a 500-meter sprint to a 10,000-meter long haul. This sport is all about power, speed, and endurance. And Canadians are some of the best in the world. Just look at the team pursuit, where Canadian women are the reigning Olympic champions. I caught up with 2 of them at the World Cup stop in Calgary.
A lot of people are going to be watching speed skating this Olympic season. They might want to get into it. Newbies, why do you love this sport, and why would you tell people to get into it?
Well, we got clubs across Canada. In every small town, there seems to be a small little speed skating club run by volunteers, by moms and dads that have loved the sport for a long time, have gotten their kids involved. It's just a really incredible community sport with a lot of really passionate people involved. And so, yeah, recommend anybody going out, learn to skate.
Best tip for a newbie?
Oh, keep your knees forward. Knees forward.
Olympics are a chance to bring new fans into the sport, and some may find out it's not as easy as our top athletes make it look.
I think they believe that it might be easier to pick up from hockey than it is, but a lot of times the skating technique is quite a bit different in how you use the blades, and how the blades actually engineered is different. So you end up with a very different type of skating. From personal experience, the thing that I noticed when I first came out is the forces you feel in a turn, especially in short track. When you really get going, you get a bit of momentum. You feel quite a bit of forces pushing you outwards as you're going around, but also you feel this kind of zip effect as you go around the corner, and that can be quite exhilarating.
Let me tell you firsthand, it's a lot to process, especially if you, like me, have very limited experience on skates.
Okay, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Not as bad as I thought it would be though. And my hip is still intact, so I'm good. One of the things I love about the Olympics is this idea of testing yourself against your own limits and trying to see how much better you can get. Now, I've got a lot of runway, but for Canada's athletes looking at Milano Cortina 2026, it's just around the corner.
And Team Canada is expected to announce the long track speed skating team for Milano Cortina in 2026, early January. We are counting down the most popular moments of the year. Tonight, a hiker's terrifying encounter in Banff, Alberta.
It was following me for around 5 minutes, I want to say, which kind of lasted forever.
How he managed to stay calm in our moment. That's next. This holiday season, The National is bringing you a countdown of the most popular moments from the last year. We call it the 12 Days of the Moment, a hiker's calm and cool response to being followed by a grizzly bear makes our moment tonight.
So I'm making my way, and as I'm rounding a corner, I see this majestic beast just right there. He was munching on some bushes, and then he gets up and he looks at me and he starts walking my way. I thought, oh my gosh, that is a grizzly bear, and like I got a jolt of like adrenaline. I could pretty quickly determine it was a grizzly by the fact of its round head, small ears, and very large claws. So I've been, taught that, hey, like with bears, there are these rules or procedures that you should do. For grizzlies, just, try to be non-threatening, keep your distance, and then don't make any sudden movements, and obviously don't run.
Have the pepper spray at the ready.
I decided just to start slowly walking backwards, try to make some distance between me and the bear.
But you gotta remain calm and don't run.
So it was following me for around 5 minutes, I want to say, which kind of lasted forever. Eventually we came to the stream and he was just thirsty. He just stopped at the stream, got a drink of water, and I just kept walking back. I'm like, all right, he's thirsty. He doesn't want any part of me, so I'm leaving.
No kidding. That 5 minutes felt like forever. Now, he handled that exactly the way you're supposed to. Have bear spray, walk away slowly, and don't run. It is easier said than done. From all of us at The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Lindsay Duncombe in Vancouver. Take care.